final presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
Welcome to Duck Insider. Duck Insider.
Man, it feels great to be a Duck.
Give it to me, baby. My house. I'm taking it there.
Their competitors, they'll want to put the O on.
Three, got it!
We're going to compete to a standard every day.
The Oregon standard.
Rebound. Up and in. 1 point more to go.
The opportunity to play, put Oregon on your chest, should mean a great deal to you.
Unloads on one into left field, back toward the wall. Gone!
This program is staged to compete and to win championships.
Oregon wins!
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, let's talk Oregon athletics.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. We've got a lot to get to today, including Oregon baseball. If you were listening during the intro, then you heard me yell at Alex Stimpson. Alex is here today. He hasn't updated his hand in a very long time, and so if you were listening during the intro, you heard a scream because it's not updated. It still says send more coffee, and it said that months ago. Alex, is it still true that you need more coffee?
Joey can confirm over here at the correspondent desk. Do need more coffee. Not proud, though, of the hand. Back to you.
Rob Moseley is going to join us coming up in just a little while. We will also jump into Oregon baseball, some Oregon football as well. Yesterday, Jordan was sitting in this chair because I was driving to Portland to call the Oregon baseball game. We've got some updates on that. Jamal Hill met with the media. Interesting positional shift for him, right? Playing a little defensive back, playing some linebacker, a lot to jump into there. And also, Chris Hampton, this is a guy who has been through a lot in his career, was a play caller, now comes to the Ducks as the co-defensive coordinator and safeties coach, and he was really honest. I loved his answer to the question about why would you leave being a play caller to come and not be a play caller, and he gave a great answer to that question. That on the show coming up. Jordan didn't get a chance to get to Chris Hampton, so we have that for you on the horizon. Women's golf is in action today in the Pac-12 Championships, the final round, but I want to start today with Duck baseball. They're going to have to bounce back because last night did not go well. A good start, 4 in the first. In that first inning, congratulations are in order to Tanner Smith because he recorded his program record 139th career RBI. A great moment for Tanner Smith. It was so cool to see him get there. Now it's kind of a waiting game to see which record he breaks next, if he breaks another one. We'll talk about that over the course of the broadcast this weekend. Gavin Grant hit a solo shot for the Ducks. Sabine Ceballos hit a solo shot. Suddenly it's 6-1, but Oregon went ice cold. The Ducks had 13 straight hitters retired. Pilots got within 1 after the Ducks led by 5 and then tied the game. But Gavin Grant homered to make it 7-6. Came after the second delay due to weather in the game. And the Ducks ultimately got out to a 9-6 lead. Josh Molaris came in, and it was like, all right, well, Josh Molaris hasn't allowed a run all year. And he struck out the side in the 8th. He struck out the leadoff man in the 9th, but then UP chipped away. They got a base hit against him. Ultimately tied it at 9 with a pinch hit double, and then a dropped pop-up in the 9th led to a loss for the Ducks. I can't tell you the last time I called a game where with 2 outs in the 9th inning, a drop pop-up resulted in a loss. It stung. I mean, now, look, it happens. You're going to lose games, but the defense did let the Ducks down. They committed 3 errors in this contest, and Oregon's RPI dropped by 7 spots with that loss on the road to Portland. Oregon is now 21 in the RPI heading into today. So they got to bounce back. There's no doubt about that. They do need to bounce back. How they go about bouncing back, I think it's going to come down to a critical weekend at Cal. Now, why do I say that weekend is so critical? Well, again, you're number 21 in the RPI. I think being number 21 in the RPI is pretty darn good. You take care of business in the Pac-12, I think that you're going to like where you sit at the end of the year. But that being said, the mental aspect of bouncing back after losing the way the Ducks did, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see, especially because Cal, this is true. Cal won 17-3 last night. It's a Cal team that's 17-16 overall. They're 5-13 in Pac-12 play. 10th place in the conference. They beat San Francisco, though, 17-3. They're feeling pretty good. Also, in baseball oddities for you, if I told you that Utah beat BYU 29-14, would you think it was a football score? Utah baseball beat Utah 29-14 last night. It was wild. I've never seen that before. 29-14 in that midweek game. Now, also of note with this Cal series coming up, the Ducks, if they want to be where they want to be at the end of the year, that's competing for a Pac-12 championship, that's maybe hosting a regional in Eugene, Oregon's got to take care of business against Cal because Arizona State is 11-3, Stanford's 11-4, and then it's Oregon and USC tied for third at 9-6. Cal is 10th place at 5-13. I think that Oregon probably needs to sweep this series. If the Ducks do, they'd be 12-6, depending on results with Stanford and ASU. Oregon may be tied with those teams atop the conference by the week's end. I think this is a needed bounce back because so many times last night it felt like Oregon was going to put them away. And they just never got over that hump to put Portland away. And you know what? Credit to the Pilots. No one has scored a run against Josh Molaris all season long. And they got to him. That pinch hit double from Justin Succato was huge for the Pilots. Ducks need to bounce back. I think they will. This is a ballpark that plays very offensive. It's a fast infield. When the wind isn't blowing in, a lot of home runs get hit in this ballpark. Just ask Scott Heineman. I think this is a critical weekend for the Ducks taking on the Cal Golden Bears. Mark Wasikowski, Tanner Smith, and Jay Stoffel met with the media today. Some of those interviews for you later on today's show. Also, I talked about Jamal Hill. We'll hear from him a little bit later on as well as we preview the spring game coming up on April 29th. And I just want everybody to know, I don't know if anybody else is like me where you actually look at the 10 to 14-day forecast ahead. You know what next Friday's high is? 70. Take a guess. Scott says 70. Alex? 67. Sophie, 65. Brandon? 78. 78. Next Friday, the high, and I know it's a long way away, but next Friday, the high is 78, which means the spring game is going to be beautiful, right? Arizona State is in town for Duck baseball. Again, remember what I said about Arizona State? They're in first place in the conference. I lost some batteries out of my shelf by doing that. But if the Ducks take care of business against Cal, and then you're hosting Arizona State, beautiful weekend at PK Park, spring game weekend, it sets up well. It really sets up well. Meanwhile, women's golf. The Oregon women's golf team entering the final round that teed off today in fourth place. They're 6 strokes back of the lead after carding a 2-under 286 in Tuesday's second round at Papago Golf Course. The number 9 ranked Ducks tied for the second best score of the day. A little bit of momentum, and we're just, one of, I should say, just 4 teams on the day to shoot under par. Cynthia Liu, the defending individual Pac-12 champion, led Oregon with a 2-under 70, while 3 other Ducks came in at an even par 72. Oregon teed off at 8:20 this morning for the final round. More updates to come on Duck Insider here today. When we come back, Rob Moseley, the editor-in-chief of GoDucks.com, is going to be with us. And I swear if he says something to Alex on the way in about the dot, look, I updated my the radio audience, Alex's whiteboard hand now says, look, I updated my sign. We have no fun in the Country Financial studio. Rob Moseley is going to be with us next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear roads, trails, and rivers. Ready for some SUV action? Drive family adventures with the Highlander. Make a splash with the RAV4. Or haul fun with the Sequoia. Check them at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Hey, Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
Dear Sharp Turns, Toyota has more all-wheel drive sedans than any other brand. Get a grip in the stylish Camry, the elegant Crown, the striking new Prius, or the sharp Corolla. Get to Toyota.com already. Toyota, let's go places.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
To protect his home and family from disaster, Steve used courage, wisdom, and his camera phone.
That should do it.
Way to go, Steve! By simply taking digital pictures of his family's important documents, Steve can always have them stored safely online, no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Back inside the Country Financial Studio, Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mac, Rob Moseley joining us every Wednesday. Hey, you know, I purposely put you on Hump Day. Like, did I ever tell you that?
No.
Yeah, I purposely put you on Hump Day because I always felt like throughout the course of the seasons, you know, because like football season, the build up to Saturday is really the feeling, you know, like Wednesday isn't Hump Day as much as it's just like another step in the build.
Yeah.
You know? I feel like then there's this drastic come down at the end of a game. Then during basketball season, it's perfect because it's like a little preview of Thursday. You know, it's just a good feeling. This time of year, sometimes there's a baseball game that I don't want to talk about, so then you help me not talk about that baseball game. It just works out so well that you're on Hump Day. So thanks, Rob.
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah.
Happy to help you.
How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah?
Going up to Portland after this. I'm going to see a band tonight.
Nice. Nice.
We'll see.
Will you still have hearing tomorrow at football practice?
I don't know. Like, it's this, like, Scandinavian death metal band, and I feel like there's a chance I could just get beat up just for being there. Just like the middle-aged nerd guy. Like, what are you doing crashing our show here, bro? No, God, no. I will be hugging the back wall. I will be the definition of a wallflower. Just no one notice me.
Except we just said publicly on a distributed that you'll be there.
I didn't say which Scandinavian death metal show I was seeing in Portland tonight.
How many of those are going on Wednesday
No doubt,
nights?
many.
Yeah, okay.
Several.
Great.
The good news, too, is it's like a co-headlining tour, if I understand right, but they're the first of the two.
Okay.
So I think I can get to Betty Bye at a reasonable hour still. It's a weeknight. It is a weeknight. Yeah.
It is a weeknight. Spring football practice continues, of course. What have you seen so far? What's on your mind?
Ooh, man. Yeah. A lot and then, like, not a lot. It's such an interesting point to be at the spring because sort of that initial glow of, like, okay, the first couple of practices, which are just feel so revealing because you're seeing all these new guys and you're getting a sense for kind of how they might fit and kind of what the makeup of the team is now. But then there's scrimmages are fine, but they're not games against other teams. So you kind of get to this point where you feel like, well, I don't know enough about football to know, like, who's getting better in these small nuances. So, like, I don't really know what to take away from, like, most practices now. You know, it's great to see all the guys out there. And, again, to continue to get a sense for kind of how pieces all fit together and what, you know, various guys' skill sets are. But, yeah, we're just at that point where, like, I'm ready for it to be the spring game. You know, I'm sure if you talk to Coach Lanning, he's like, oh, no, I want all the reps we can get, and I want to bank as much experience as we can get. We're kind of at the point in the spring where, the newness of a couple weeks ago has worn off, and now it's like, well, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know what's different day to day, really. For me, it feels like Groundhog Day.
So I'm going to ask you an important question.
Far away.
That I asked everybody else. Are you like me that you look at the 10-day forecast often in the weather app?
I wouldn't say often. That's like my default page that I look at it if I'm looking at the weather, but I rarely get beyond. I mean, it seems so unpredictable right now.
It does seem unpredictable, so I just want to qualify what I'm about to say. But what do you think the high – so the 10-day forecast, I can only go to Friday. I can't go to Spring Football Saturday yet. What do you think the high is next Friday?
Well, you might have gotten scooped because I think we just sent out an email saying that the forecast was for 69, and I was like, nice.
Oregon Duck Tickets just sent that out.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. That's cool. Well, I have it right here that on Friday now the high is up to 81.
Whoa, seriously? Next Friday?
Yeah, look.
Shoot, we're floating the river.
It's going to be high this year. It's going to be really high this year.
Yeah, it'd be really cold and be really fast.
Yeah.
And it would be a decision I'd regret 10 minutes in.
Yeah.
But that first 5 minutes
would be glorious.
Yes.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
We're floating. We're back.
So, yeah.
Oh, my God, it's cold.
Yeah, very, very. But, yeah, 81 now the high on Friday. So it's just setting up to be a nice spring game. That's all I'm saying.
Glorious. And a great baseball matchup.
Huge.
Afterward.
Did you listen to that coming in today?
I did not.
Okay, then please feel free. Tell everybody why it's so great.
Because we're playing Arizona State, and they're in first place, and we are not.
This guy. But in third place.
Right.
Ducks could catch Arizona State with a good weekend at Cal, and they're going to need to bounce back after what happened last night.
Whoa. I thought we weren't going to talk about that.
I was just saying they're going to have to bounce back.
Got it, yeah.
The weekend ahead.
Yeah, that was a rough one. I was kind of following along, and then I went to my weekly trivia outing.
Did you win?
We got third, so we got –
That's really bad for you.
Yeah, hey, the podium is the podium, and this particular location – you get a gift card for first, second, third. Some places you go and if you get third, they give you a mug,
and you have 20,000 mugs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Although we went up to Monroe, that new brewery up there, Long Timber, I think, a couple weeks ago, and I got a pretty nice coffee tumbler from them.
That's good.
And we got third there, or maybe got second. Anywho. Yeah, but so
podium.
Even though we got third last night, we got money, cash money, not cash, but gift card.
Right.
Gift card next time. So yeah, it's if you're gonna finish third, that's a good place to finish third.
Okay.
Yeah,
good.
I could go on and on.
I thought you guys are always in first place. That's my feeling.
You gotta have in the company whose shows we go to, the way their format works, you pick a category and you get triple the points for that category.
So you gotta win that category.
You gotta have a category you can get 10 out of 10 on and triple it if you're gonna win. And it's been a few weeks since we we're nails.
They've caught on to what you're good at.
I'm getting dumber. This is if you want to get off track. I've determined. So when I hit 40, Scott, I don't know. Maybe, when I hit 40, physically I started to definitely slow down.
Yeah.
And now that I'm over to the hill of 45, I feel mentally, I feel
hump, if you will,
markedly dumber right now than I did a year or two ago.
Well, it could be the death metal bands in Portland on Wednesday nights.
It could be. And the libations.
Well, this has been Duck Insider on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
Glad to have you all here. Before you came in,
yes.
we were talking about a number of things, including women's golf. Do
you have it up?
Live update.
Okay.
I've got it for you right here. USC's in first place.
Yeah, that first round they put together was.
They are 13 under. Oregon is now 7 under in second place. The Ducks are a few holes ahead of USC.
We're 5 under for the day still?
5 under for the day still.
Okay.
So is USC.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they were, 9 strokes better round one, so, we've made up some of that, but that's a big hole to be in.
It's a big jump.
Yeah.
It's a big jump for sure.
They look like they're playing good. I think it has changed over the last few holes, but as of a few holes ago, they had a player who was tied for second individually, and they were not counting her score today because the rest of their team was playing that well.
That's pretty good.
So, yeah, I mean, that's – when you put together the first round they did, and then you have kind of the depth of contributions that they're getting today. I mean, that's a championship performance, and you tip your cap.
Yeah.
Our team obviously wanted to defend its title. And win again, but I think they also have bigger goals. And I think if you can make a statement against Stanford, hopefully that continues to resonate through the rest of the postseason.
Also, they're playing without, on the season, probably their best player this weekend. So, it's worth some context that if the depth of the roster.
Yeah, you talk about depth. I mean, Minori's performance today.
Minori's been really good.
That's going to make Coach Radley's got some fun, difficult decisions to make.
Yeah, so what Rob's talking about, Minori Nagano today, right now in 5th place as an individual in the entire tournament.
She's bogey free today, right?
Today, 6 under, and she shot a 66.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah, no bogeys, 6 birdies?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, and
so that's really good.
Yeah. And you look at the freshman, your number 4 player, Annika.
Yeah, Annika Varma's tied for 11th in the overall tournament.
So, the 3 returners you figure are rock solid for the rest of the postseason. But if the other 2 are going to play that way, and then Ashley's put together the body of work she has for this season, I mean that's what you want. You want
good luck, Coach Radley.
Yeah, but you want to be in the positions where you have to make hard decisions, and like pivoting back to football, which you started with off the top. They're in the position now where it looks like they're going to have some hard decisions. I think particularly on defense, Dan Lanning feels like they've got a lot of guys that can play. And for one thing, you're not going to only play 11 guys, so you can use a lot of guys, but you're going to have some tough decisions too, and that's what you want. I mean, it's not a good place to be when you're like, hey, we got 11 dudes, and it's really easy because the drop off after that is substantial. They don't feel that way, so that's a good thing.
And I hate to say it, but you're probably going to have some injuries. You're probably going to have some attrition, right?
No doubt. And that's the name of the game.
I actually really liked that Coach Lanning said that in talking about the depth of the team. Like, you got to have more than 11.
Right.
That's why you hope to have some depth at those different positions, because guys are going to rotate different packages. I mean, by the end of the season, there's probably like 17 guys that people like me that are, calling the game. Like, I'm always ready for them at any given moment.
Is it usually the same number both sides of the ball?
No.
Kind of depends.
Yeah, because sometimes, you're going to have my, broadcast chart, for example, sometimes there's 3 tight ends.
Right.
That could be involved depending on the package. Offense, I would say, on my charts in general, offense probably has more names on it than defense.
Yeah. Well, yeah, then that could change this year. It'll be interesting to see what your chart looks like. At the beginning of next season, because I think they feel like they've got a lot of guys they can play. And you look at the inside linebacker group. I mean, they probably feel like they've got at least 4 guys that can play there. The safety group, given the impact of the transfer guys, and then some of the experience coming back, and the Addisons and the Steve Stevenses, you feel like, hey, there's a lot of options there. Up front, obviously, you're going to want to play a lot of guys. And, man, do some of those young defensive linemen pass the eyeball test. Holy cow.
Yeah.
It's going to be really fascinating to see. First of all, once, kind of the next wave gets here over the summer, because there's some really good guys in that group, it sounds like. But, who are the guys that don't just pass the eyeball test, but, in the coach's eyes, have passed the performance test and can be contributors right off the bat?
In case in point, I think all of us are looking to who contributes right away, and then there's guys that have developed 1 or 2 years that are now in that group of, 11, 17, or whatever the number is. And then there's a guy, though, like Jordan James, who's in limited moments. You just did the Quack Minute with him. He was one of those guys, beginning of the season probably wasn't on my chart.
Right.
Then he was on my chart, depending on the package that was deployed.
Yeah, because if we're going to score a rushing touchdown in a short yardage situation, he was probably going to do it.
Right.
And to your point, that was that 14J package. So, yeah, you're going to need 3 tight ends plus an extra offensive lineman who's playing a tight end position. And, I obviously, don't want to reveal anything I shouldn't, but I get the impression Will Stein's going to be a guy who's going to be open to doing the kind of things Kenny Dillingham did in terms of, hey, how do you get a lot of guys involved? How do you get a lot of guys on the field? How do you take advantage of different personnel groupings? And how do you stress a defense in different ways? So, I think that was one of the big question marks going into spring. And we'll see. You don't count on showing much in the spring game, so I think
you're telling me it's not going to be something I can really base a scouting report on.
Breaking, hashtag breaking. But come September, what is everything going to look like? What are they actually going to show? What are some things maybe they tried out and just said, that's not going to work.
Well, and Coach Stein even talked about that in talking. Well, so I should back up. He was on the signing day show with me, and so I did ask, offensive philosophy. Every fan wants to know, what's your offensive philosophy? And he was like, you put players in positions to win.
Right.
Honestly, Kenny Dillingham probably said that exact phrase when we had that conversation previously. I think that's not a secret, right? Like, you want to put guys in the right spot to win. What I really loved in hearing from Coach Stein is how much he enjoys working with a guy like Bo Nix, too. Because there's no secret, Rob. Like, this is going to be maybe the year of the quarterback in the Pac-12 conference. It sure looks that way.
There's a lot of dudes. Yeah, it's interesting, too, kind of as I get older and sort of have the benefit of a completely different perspective on those relationships, how collaborative they seem, particularly with these younger guys, and just the connection they can form with a player when you get a Kenny Dillingham with a guy who had Bo Nix's experience, and then Will Stein replaces Kenny, and Bo's got another year under his belt. Yeah. So there's this sense of collaboration. I mean, they're particularly, from my perspective, they're so close in age. I know that when you're Bo's age, someone who's 30 seems elderly, so perhaps to them it seems a little different. But yeah, again, like I say, from my perspective, that they seem so relatively close in age, and so that sense of collaboration is really cool and interesting, and there's a mutual respect, and what can we learn from each other. Every coach-player relationship is different and is its own dynamic. But that one, when it's your quarterback,
right?
And obviously you want depth at that position and you want to have options, but you also want to feel like you have a guy at quarterback. Right. And so when you're that position coach, your relationship with that guy, if you've got him, is just going to be something really special and kind of unique.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's a
kind
few
of unique. That's kind of an oxymoron, right?
Unique.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah, kind of unique. Yeah.
Rob Moseley joining us. I feel like there's examples of that, right? Like in every sport, the cliche is like a pitching coach with his starting pitcher and his catcher. And you talk about like
Graham Abel with his goalie.
I was going to say that, and then like you talk about a point guard in a traditional basketball 1 through 5 positional chart, right? Like there's always that dynamic. I agree with you. Like one of the things that I've really appreciated in being around the teams like I am, like you just see the student athletes that get that. You know, like, because not everybody is wired to be that sort of leader, I guess, for lack of a better phrase. Bo certainly is.
Or just frankly coachable. I mean, and kind of this is maybe a divergent point a little bit, but one of my favorite things so far this year has been watching Nate Biddle's development.
Yeah.
And he went from a guy who I think was like would push back on coaching a little bit to a guy who was like, okay, I'm just going to give myself over to this. I'm going to be open to tough coaching, criticism, even from teammates who I might be like, hey, is it your place to coach me up? But, hey, they're trying to help me get better. He gave himself over to like, all right, everybody here wants me to try to reach my potential. And you saw this flip get switched, and switch get flipped.
That was good.
Whatever.
We got there.
Yeah. And it was night and day in his game, in his contributions to the team. And so, yeah, I mean, I just again, kind of with the benefit of age too. When you watch kids, it's such a fascinating cohort to be around because you see different maturity levels, you see different kind of levels of coachability. Sometimes you have kids where hard-headedness can be an asset, but it can work against you too. And to find that right balance of like, okay, competitiveness and self-belief, and a willingness to kind of take on a challenge and feel like you have what it within yourself to combat that challenge, but also to be open to collaborating with others and to being coachable and to taking tough criticism. Those are the best of the best.
What a concept. He's Rob Moseley, editor-in-chief, GoDucks.com. Safe drive.
Hey, thanks, bro.
See you tomorrow morning.
Yeah, I hope so.
Mm-hmm. Well, if I don't see you tomorrow morning, then we'll know what happened.
Yes.
Or we won't.
It was a good show. Or a great show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
He's Rob Moseley, the editor-in-chief of GoDucks.com. Camden Lewis on the pod.
Oh, yeah.
Fabulous.
He's great. Yeah. Great kid.
Great
kid, great story. Talk about persevering.
Talk about golf.
Yeah. Yeah. Loves the game.
Loves the game. Loves the game. Might be his second love. Maybe his first love.
Might be his first love.
Might be his first love. If it is, Cam, you tell us.
Yeah.
But it's very possible. Alex agrees. We're going to get a timeout. When we come back, a little bit of football. We didn't get to Chris Hampton yesterday. We're going to do that. A co-DC safeties coach. Thanks, Rob.
Yeah.
See you, buddy. Back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, our all-inclusive event pricing allows us to take care of all of the details while you enjoy your event. Our wedding garden, expansive grounds, ballroom, and meeting rooms can accommodate any size event and come complete with full catering and service staff. From weddings to business and social events, Shadow Hills offers the benefits of a resort atmosphere and the peace of a country setting just minutes from downtown Eugene. For more details, call us today or go to shadowhillsevents.com.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Chris Hampton. I served in the United States Air Force and I deployed 3 times. Being a veteran, it's interwoven into your DNA. Is really the absence of the connection and the purpose that can really drive a lot of veterans to some negative thoughts. For those who are in a suicidal crisis, the window of time to save somebody's life is very short. Our duty is to protect ourselves and protect our families. And one way you can do that is store your weapons safely. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you prevent wildfires.
Dude, I've got this. I've been camping since I was 5 years old.
But I am a camping influencer.
You know what? I'll bet you $5. Assistant Smokey, what is the best way to put out a campfire?
To put out a campfire, drown with water, stir, drown again. Then make sure the fire is out cold by feeling with the back of your hand.
Wait, really?
I'll take the $5.
Learn more at smokeybear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
We are back inside the Country Financial Studio. Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Please, everybody, join me in wishing Alex Stimson a goodbye. Bye, Alex. Good job. Alex edited the baseball interviews that we just did today, so thanks, Alex. Appreciate it, buddy. Appreciate it. Speaking of interviews that Alex probably edited, Chris Hampton, co-defensive coordinator, safeties coach. Really great stuff learning a little bit about Chris Hampton. If you didn't see my conversation with him on the signing day special, this will especially help you get to know a new addition to Oregon's coaching staff, Chris Hampton. Always brought to you by the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Fight like a duck with exceptional cancer care close to home. Chris Hampton.
What was the most enticing thing about the Oregon job when you decided to come here?
The opportunity, I thought, to win a national championship, to learn under, Dan Lanning and Tosh Lupoy, 2 guys I've admired for a long time. We talk about a growth mindset here, and it was just something I was looking for to grow in my career.
What was your previous relationship with Dan? How did you guys know each other just through the camp circuit? Where did that come from?
Yeah, I met him at a clinic in 2020. Just met him at a clinic and kind of stayed in touch a little bit. Obviously with COVID that year, did a couple of Zooms that we just talked football on. Was able to pick his brain on some things, and we had some mutual friends, and just went from there.
Robbie Disher gave you a couple of stories on him along the way too.
Yeah, Robbie Disher. Robbie was one of the guys. Definitely, I had an opportunity to work with. Obviously, he and Dan, I think, were college teammates. He said a lot of great things about him, and he helped me out getting here.
What were your first impressions of this defense when you got to look at it?
I think we've got a chance to be really, really good. We're trending in the right directions. We have a lot of variety of things we can do. I think we got some great situational calls, a lot of things that I've learned, obviously, since I've been here. And I think we've got the pieces with the players to be pretty good.
I realize maybe the experience with you is new for everybody, but your group has a lot of guys that have played a lot of college football, whether it's here or elsewhere. Mm-hmm. How valuable is that for you guys?
I think it's extremely valuable. We've got a lot of guys who've seen a lot of things, here and other places. They've played a lot of snaps in real games, in hostile environments. They understand what we're doing. There's some terminology that's different from places that they came from, the guys who transferred in. We just have to, just translate it to what they remember from where they came from. This is part of football. But I think it's really good that we've got some older guys here, we've got some experience, and hopefully it pays dividends in the fall.
A lot of coaches have talked about the recruiting gets a little bit easier once you get that O on your chest and you got, more resources at your availability. Have you noticed that since you got here?
Definitely. When you talk to the kids now, I mean, they know exactly who you are. You're a little bit prettier than I was in my previous spot. Yeah, but the kids are definitely intrigued by coming here with the brand, with Nike, and just Oregon in general with winning, and then with Coach Lanning being here. So I think it all helps, and recruiting's been going great.
For those casual fans and observers who didn't watch Tulane as much last season, what was your background in simulated pressures and kind of your experience in working with it in terms of how much from Baylor's tree, Dan's tree, et cetera, and which are kind of shared anyway, but you get what I'm getting at.
Yep.
How much have you worked with simulated pressure?
Yeah, I tell you what, in 21 I did a ton of them. Wasn't as good at them as these guys have been here before, but we did a ton of them. And so we did a little bit this year in 22 at Tulane. We did much more in 21 than we did this year. I just think our personnel was different this year, and we weren't. Simulated pressures, we weren't as good at doing them, so we kind of scaled back on them. We do a lot more of them here, and I think we've got a different personnel and the ability to do it.
How much of a benefit is it for you guys, your secondary, your defense, to have to defend Bo Nix every day and have to defend this offense that's was really good last year?
I think it's a tremendous challenge for us. It's going to make us better. He can extend plays with his legs, which is the big thing that quarterbacks, mobile quarterbacks, that's what gives defenses fits. We had a segment today in practice that he did it. So we've got to, stay in coverage. Sometimes you have to cover a little bit longer, which is really good. So we're playing a veteran quarterback every day, playing some really good receivers. We got some really good backs that we got to thud up and tackle in scrimmages. So I think it's a challenge each and every day going against our offense to go make us better.
When you evaluate the guys you inherited, a guy like Brian Addison who had a second half of the season that was really, really productive.
Mm-hmm.
What do you see from him, and what have you seen from him so far this spring that makes him, made him a productive guy, makes him a guy that you could lean on and count on?
I think he's got tremendous length, first of all, and then he's got excellent ball skills from his wide receiver background. So I think that's a thing that he can really do is, play in the post and make plays from sideline to sideline on deep balls, and that's what we'll need him to do.
It's about J.J. Greenfield that allows him to play a little bit everywhere from a defensive back standpoint.
Really instinctive. Understands the game, understands what we're doing on defense. He's a smart football player. I think he loves the game. I think that's the first thing. I think he really loves football. Takes great notes each and every day. I like him. He's kind of a Swiss Army knife. He can do a lot of different things.
What do you want the freshmen to get out of this first spring with Cody and Tyler, to obviously the experience, the reps, your meeting room, et cetera? What have you seen from them? What do you hope they get out of and have gotten out of so far?
I think the big thing is the experience and the reps. Really is what you said. It's the biggest thing for them to get, just the reps, the experience, understanding the system. I think when you do it again in the summer and in fall camp, it'll be the second and third time doing it, so it'll be a little bit cleaner for them. I think the speed of the game. Football is football, but once you get to college, the game's a little bit faster. The guys are a little bit bigger and stronger. The one thing I've seen from both of them is that they're fearless. Tyler made some really nice studs out there today. Cody joined us a little bit later, but he's catching on really, really quick. They're both smart kids. I think they love football as well. So I'm fired up about both of them.
What are the traits you're just looking for your safeties to show on the field, whether they're current guys here or when you're out on the recruiting trail? What are those things you're looking to see translate on?
I think the first thing a safety has to be able to do is get the defense lined up. So we've got to be great communicators. And I think we've got to, every day I'm challenging them at that. We've got to improve, I think, in that area. But I think we're getting better and better. But we've got to do a great job of communication first. And then we've got to have the ability to tackle when the ball spits. So we've got to do a better job of that, of tackling, getting guys down, and then communication.
Has there been a guy that's emerged as a good communicator for you that you can rely on right now?
Steve Stevens is probably our best overall communicator. He's played a lot of football. He's been here in the system for a year. He's confident, knows exactly what we're doing. So he's doing an excellent job of that.
How much are guys cross-training in terms of, I'm talking about from room to room more than on the field? So for a guy like Evan or Ty Sheem, how much are they with Joe? Are they with you? Are they with both? How you guys?
They're with me. But we've got some guys that are going from corner to safety that Coach Martin and myself are swapping in and out, whether it be Cole or Triquez Bridges. There's some guys that we're working at muscle spots. We're training our safeties at both spots, field and boundary. We're training guys that start in corner. We're training guys that start in safety, just so when the season comes, they've had reps at it. And if someone gets injured, they've at least done it before, so we can plug and play the best guy and not just the next guy.
Tell us a little bit about, just from the play calling standpoint at Tulane, how much of that was exclusively you, and how autonomous was it, or how much of it was a shared operation, or just how things?
Nah, it was really me. Coach Fritz gave me the keys to it. He kind of was hands off, and he let you do, whatever you really want to do. He just had to work. That was kind of the deal there. So, but no, I'm really thankful for him and allowing me to do that. He gave a lot of suggestions on technique fundamentals. He was really overseer of that. He coached technique fundamentals, ball security, takeaways, tackling. Those were his big deals. Leverage, pursuit to the football. He let me do all the X and O's.
And part of why I ask is because people hear that and naturally they go, "Why would you give up a play calling opportunity as a coordinator to a co-coordinator and not play calling?"
Correct. And a lot of people have asked me that, and I think really and truly, honestly, when I was talking to these guys, they said something to me about a growth mindset, and at first I was kind of, I was thinking the same thing. And then they said it, and I was like, you're right. Like, that's why I want to do this, is to grow. I'm 37 now. I was 36 when I came. And so I think I've got a long career, and I just want to grow and learn. I think there's always opportunities, to learn, and I think that's invaluable. And so I want to come here and just learn.
Talking about technique, so many times you see a DB, if you just turn and look for the ball, you get an interception rather than an interference or the guy catching it. So how do you teach that? This fine line between looking and
yeah, correct, it is. There's a certain time and a certain place on the field that you need to lean and locate and look for the ball. There's also a certain time you need to play through the man, depending if he has space to make the catch or not, and if he can shield you off. So there's just some technique drills that you have to do to work on their timing. A lot of it's innate ability. Can the guys do it? Is some of you don't have to overcoach. If the guys, he's got the talent, that's why you recruit. Can he play the ball then play the man? There's some guys who can do that, and there's times to do it. You've got to coach it, obviously. But some guys have a special skill set.
You just see it in their eye, the receiver's eyes. Can you read off that at all?
Yeah, you can tell from his eyes whether the ball's coming from his shoulder location, whether his shoulder's back or his shoulder's forward. Whether the ball's coming back shoulder or it's going over the top. So you talk about looking from his shoulder to his earlobe, and seeing where the ball's coming in, and that tells you, okay, how do I need to play the guy? If it's here, that means the ball's coming over the top. If his shoulder and earlobe's back, then I need to play into him because it's going to be a back shoulder fade. So yeah, you definitely do that. You key through his shoulder and his earlobe.
Talk about Steve and how he's taking a step forward. He's a big vocal leader. You yourself want to grow just as a coach and become a better coach in person. Are there any players who you think aren't quite there in terms of being the vocal leader, but they have the characteristics? Do you think that they could potentially become a great one come fall in the future?
Yeah, I think both our freshmen can. I think they both got those type of traits and ability. But right now, when you're a freshman, it's new. You're just trying to make sure that you're doing things right, that you're saying the right things. You're a little unsure. That's just natural. But I think both of those guys, Cody and Tyler, both have those traits to be that type of guy in the future for us here. And I think they can do it.
You're having those early conversations with them?
Yeah, definitely. Starting trying to build that right now. I think that's the first thing a safety has to do is get the defense lined up. So, and they've got to be great communicators.
Really enjoyed all that stuff from Chris Hampton, co-defensive coordinator, safeties coach for the Ducks. And one guy that he's worked with a little bit, but is also changing position to linebacker, Jamal Hill. We're going to hear from him when we come back. Duck Insider continues from the Country Financial Studio right here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear roads, trails, and rivers. Ready for some SUV action? Drive family adventures with the Highlander. Make a splash with the RAV4. Or haul fun with a Sequoia. Check them at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Dear Sharp Turns, Toyota has more all-wheel drive sedans than any other brand. Get a grip in the stylish Camry, the elegant Crown, the striking new Prius, or the sharp Corolla. Get to Toyota.com already. Toyota, let's go places.
This is Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
It's time for today's STEM tip. Okay, you know recycling is important. No one wants plastic in the ocean. Here's a cool way to repurpose a plastic bottle. Build an awesome terrarium. Cut a large plastic bottle in half and fill the base with sand, pebbles, potting soil, and your favorite plant. I chose an African violet. Put the top of the bottle over your base and place it in the sun. Your plant will grow sealed in its own ecosystem. Fun, right? Learn more at She Can STEM. A message from the Ad Council.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got a video of my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. Oregon football continuing their spring workouts, and yesterday we had the opportunity to catch up with Jamal Hill. He had a lot of great things to say about his transition working defensive back, also working inside linebacker for the Ducks. A lot of good things with Jamal Hill.
Just to start, where have you been lining up so far this spring? I know that's a hot topic.
Been playing linebacker. Mm-hmm.
Seems like you've added some weight too to play linebacker. What are you up to now?
Like 227.
How do you feel with that added weight? How do you feel playing linebacker, and just what are your thoughts on the position?
I feel good. I don't feel like I really gained no weight, so like that's a good thing. It's been fun, honestly. I kind of wish I would have did it earlier. Mm-hmm. Like I enjoy it. Like I'm close to all the action. I feel like I'm gonna be able to play a lot faster. So like. Yeah, I'm enjoying it so far.
When did that conversation happen where the staff wanted you to move from safety to linebacker?
Probably like the end of January. So like after the bowl game, like me, Coach Landon, Coach Tosh, my family, we just like sat down and talked about it. Like what would be the best for me moving forward, and that's just the decision we all came up with.
Were you immediately open to the change, or was there any hesitation?
Yeah, I was open for it because when he told me, I was just like, all I got to do is gain weight. I'm like, all right, I know I can do that. So, I mean, yeah, I was open to it.
Has it been challenging at all, trying to learn the new position?
I mean, yes, it's growing pains here and there, but, I mean, it's just been fun. It's football for me, so I don't really think nothing is too hard.
What were some of the guys who helped you kind of transition and learn the position?
Shoot, the whole linebacker room, like, they really embraced me. Like, Jeff Bossa, like, being that he played last year in the linebacker room, and he was a converted player too, so, like, the first day he heard I was in the room, like, he's like, let me know how I can help you, whatever I can do for you, and you feel me? Just, everybody, like, it's just been a brotherhood, and I appreciate all of them for that.
Have you been working at both of those inside spots, or just one more than the other?
Both. Mm-hmm. You know, a little bit of everything.
Do you have a preference?
I like both. I just like playing in the box, honestly. Like,
how nice? Sorry. How nice is it to have a guy like Jeff who converted from safety to linebacker just like you did?
He know how I feel. You know what I'm saying? To come from the back end to coming in the box, like like it's a different level of physicality. He know what you got to really look for. You know what I'm saying? Like it sound good, like just looking at the box, like telling them what they need to do. But when you actually got to go cheek somebody that's 300 pounds, like you feel me? Got to bring your big boy underwear.
Did you have what was your gain weight meal? How did you gain all that weight pretty quick?
Part 1, these great shakes by our nutrition staff, and then just 4 meals a day, 300 push-ups a day.
We talked about that 300 push-ups. Just how difficult was that to start? I should say, because that's a heck of a lot.
Honestly, if I'm being 100, Bucky got me on it. Bucky Irvin, like when we just work out by ourselves. He's just like, bro, I'm on no push-ups. Like, he'll just call me random in the day, like, you ain't doing your push-ups. And you feel me? Like, that's my boy. So, like, I got on it and got a couple more of my teammates on it. We just in push-up game.
Who else have you got on the push-up scale?
So,
who else have you got on the push-up? Like,
who else? Charquez, Damon. Who else push-up game? Chris Hudson. That's probably really it, just like the immediate, you know what I'm saying, bust them out.
Internal competition for Oregon football. That's Jamal Hill talking about the transition to linebacker, where he's been playing mostly in this spring. Quick timeout. When we come back, record-setting performance yesterday, even in a loss for Tanner Smith. I think you'll like what he had to say. When we return, talking a little baseball, getting you ready for the weekend at Cal on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union, onpointcu.com. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, our all-inclusive event pricing allows us to take care of all of the details while you enjoy your event. Our wedding garden, expansive grounds, ballroom, and meeting rooms can accommodate any size event and come complete with full catering and service staff. From weddings to business and social events, Shadow Hills offers the benefits of a resort atmosphere and the peace of a country setting just minutes from downtown Eugene. For more details, call us today or go to shadowhillsevents.com.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Here's a fun fact for you. The average chameleon can point their eyes in 2 different directions. On the other hand, the average human can't. So unless you're a chameleon, there's absolutely no way you can focus on texting and driving at the same time. So don't do it, unless you're a chameleon.
Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Guys, it's me, Isabella Gomez, filling in for Smokey Bear because he's got more to say than just...
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Like, if you're outside enjoying a barbecue, don't let a hamburger distract you from fire safety. Make sure you aren't dumping your hot coals or ashes onto the ground because that could start a wildfire. So take wildfire prevention seriously and let's save the world one day at a time. Juntos con Smokey Bear, podemos hacerlo. Go to smokeybear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. Tanner Smith set the career record for runs batted in last night, even in the tough loss for the Ducks where they had a 4-run ninth inning go against them. Never want to see that. And I think you'll love Tanner Smith answering this first question. Here's the Oregon baseball veteran meeting with the media today.
Those emotions, was it kind of bittersweet or?
More bitter than sweet for sure. That was one we really wanted to get. It was a tough game, an in-state rival, and it was just, it is what it is. Tip our cap to them. They played well, did what they needed to do, and we didn't. And, now we're just looking forward to this weekend.
You guys have won 15 of your last 19. It's clearly something that's going right here. You guys, lose unfortunately yesterday. Just you as an elder statesman in the locker room, how do you try to keep these guys together?
Yeah, I think it's really all about just kind of taking the losses and using them as learning lessons to try to see how quick you can bounce back. Baseball being such a game of failure and things not always going your way, there's a lot of opportunities to start something up again, to make something happen. And I think, we're on a really good run, like you said, in that 15 and 19 stretch, and just got to keep the ball rolling.
Well, let's talked a lot about how there were more bright spots than negatives from this past game. Do you kind of feel the same way about how you guys offensively approach that game?
Absolutely. All the way around, I think this team's just filled with, star-level talent and great players, and on any given day, any hitter can take over the game, and when the team is really rolling and the whole offense collectively is rolling, it's a pretty impressive offense.
You wasted no time, breaking the hits record a few weeks ago. Took you a couple weeks to break the RBIs record. You're still getting plenty of hits in that time. Were you thinking about the RBI record at all, like subconsciously even?
No, I mean, not really. The only time I really would is when Sabine would apologize for being a little too slow on some of them, but no, it was just a matter of time and just kind of playing a team role, doing that.
For a guy like Grant, yesterday was an up and down day. 2 home runs with, drops the consequential pop fly. Is that a guy you feel like you need to approach, or is that somebody that you feel confident just going to put that behind him?
I feel completely confident in Gavin. He's been around this game long enough, and he knows personally that it probably wouldn't even been a close game without him last night. That's just kind of the way baseball works sometimes, and it's a tough game, and it can, when you're at your highs, it can really beat you down. But Gavin's an unbelievable player, and I think he's just going to flush this one. And like I kind of said earlier, I think it's just a learning lesson, not just for him, but for everybody.
Heading into Cal, have you guys gone through some tape, or was you just focused on Portland?
That'll be today. Yeah, we'll go over that today and get ready for them. We see stuff online, and it seems like they're a pretty decent team, so it'll be a fun weekend, and excited to get down there in some California weather and play baseball.
What's the tape process like with Martyr? He's a pretty intricate, fine-tuned guy. Just what's that like?
Yeah, he's got everything, broken down into really anything you can imagine. I would say, the primary focus is just really, for us, is just on their pitchers, kind of how, they've approached guys in the past and previous years, and what they plan on doing this upcoming weekend, and really just putting together a plan for us to, buy into going into the weekend.
Betcher's gotten a lot of starts here in right field recently. Just how nice is it to see him out there and right, and see him just track down balls out there?
It's so awesome. Bryce is such an unbelievable kid, hard worker, and to see him do that, and to to have an outfield with Colby Shade and Bryce Betcher, and to be a part of that, that's a lot of ground that gets covered. Some really good outfielders, and so just to be a part of an outfield with those two guys, it's pretty special.
What's it been like with Owen Diodati struggling and not getting a lot of playing time recently? I know he's your throwing partner before games, and seems like a really good guy. Just what's that relationship been like for you two?
Yeah, no, it's similar to Gav's. I think Owen's a guy that can flush things pretty quickly and move on to the next page. And I think Owen's really taken this time to really improve himself individually, improve his game, and I think when his time gets called again in this game of baseball, where everybody seems to have an opportunity once in a while, I think he's going to crush it.
Everybody does seem to have an opportunity once in a while, don't they? I mean, that's the way baseball's been. The Ducks have kind of been looking for somebody to fill that right field spot. Last 4 games, it's been Bryce Betcher. Let's see what happens this weekend. Tomorrow, Oregon spring football practice continues. I'm actually sitting down this afternoon with Coach Lombardi after their Tuesday doubleheader got canceled, so we're going to talk some softball. Mark Wazakowski, Jay Stoffel met with the media today. That's all on the show tomorrow. Jordan Brenner's got you covered tomorrow because I will be taking off down to Berkeley with Duck Baseball. That's on the show tomorrow, and that's all I got for you today. So, see ya.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care would love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services